Hi there and welcome to Indi Android, your place to get plugged into geek culture all across the Hoosier State. I have a question for you. What's your SAT score? Your credit score? What about your Myers-Briggs type? Okay, those were hard, I'll give you that, but I bet you can get this one. What is your Hogwarts house? There you go. Now, as a proud Hufflepuff myself, no shade, I've spent some time thinking about what job I'd get in that wizarding world. Or maybe Defense Against Dark Arts teacher, there's always openings for that one. Maybe Quidditch player? Today we'll meet someone in our not-so-magical world who's getting pretty darn close with that last one. And we'll find out how he ended up in the Czech Republic. But don't worry, I led with the most important question.
So, I'm a Ravenclaw.
Say hello to Isaac Gutjahr. Originally from Bloomington, Indiana, and a University of Southern California grad, Isaac and another American player now help coach the Czech national Quidditch team. Or, as they call it in the Czech Republic, Famfrapal. Isaac lives in Jihlava, a city of about 50,000 around an hour and a half southeast of Prague. But there's the big question. How do you end up in the Czech Republic?
So I grew up in Bloomington, and I lived there my whole life. I went to Bloomington High School North. The reason I ended up at USC is I wanted to study film. I played Quidditch at USC kind of by chance, actually. I played soccer my whole life, and one of my teammates in the soccer team was randomly on the Quidditch team, and he told me I should come check it out. So I didn't actually get involved in Quidditch because of Harry Potter, though I love Harry Potter as well. But I just got involved because my friend said it was a fun thing to try out. I applied for a Fulbright grant. So Fulbright is a international educational exchange program with the US government. They send you to a country that you apply to. So I work as an English teaching assistant at 3 high schools in my city, and also kind of lead cultural exchange activities. I was at a conference for all the different Fulbrighters that were in the Czech Republic, and I was talking to Arvind, and I guess the topic got to Harry Potter, and I randomly brought up that I played Quidditch in college. He's like, no way, I also played Quidditch. That's a small community, so it's kind of odd that 2 of us that are randomly in this Czech program had played Quidditch. So we ended up going to a practice, and because we have more years of experience playing, because Quidditch has been a sport in the US longer than in Europe, where it's been more popular, so they actually asked us to come on as coaches to kind of share what we know about the sport and kind of help grow it in this community. And it's a pretty big shock moving from LA to semi-rural Czech Republic, because obviously there's a language barrier, so coaching a sport is more difficult when every instruction is not completely understood. Now, when real-life Quidditch was first picking up steam on college campuses, it was trying to be a much closer approximation to what we saw in the movies. Players rode around on actual broomsticks, and the person playing the snitch was a lot more unpredictable. They'd run around the entire college campus and climb up trees, that sort of thing. Now, the rulebook's a bit more unified. So you have 2 beaters, 3 chasers, and 1 keeper. The chasers and the keeper, they kind of work together, and they are trying to move the quaffle, which is essentially a volleyball, slightly deflated, and throw it through the hoops. And it's kind of like handball in that sense. The challenge is you have to be always on top of your broom, which is now a type of PVC pipe. You get 10 points if you throw it through the hoops. The 2 beaters fight over dodgeballs, and so it's kind of a mix of dodgeball and handball, because if a beater hits you with a dodgeball, you have to run back and tag your hoops before you rejoin the game. Because it's a co-ed sport, this really actually evens the playing field, because you can have a girl that's playing beater stop a guy that's like 200 pounds from running through the hoops because she hits him with a dodgeball. There's also the seeker, which is kind of the most confusing thing. So the snitch is the end of the game, and in the movies it's worth 150 points. They changed that for this sport because it's kind of ridiculous to have it be worth 150 points. It would just be not worth playing. So it's worth 30 points. The snitch is a guy wearing yellow, and he has kind of like a flag football kind of like ball attached behind him. And the seeker, he comes out in the field after I think 17 minutes, and then at 18 minutes a seeker from each team has to run and try to grab the ball flag.
Isaac and his team are currently between tournaments. They wrapped up the European Quidditch Cup in late April, and they head to the IQA World Cup in Florence later this month.
Well, you'll get teams from the UK, which are like the best teams that won their qualifying, come to this championship. The Czech team, because it's newer, we didn't really have like as many teams competing, so there's just this smaller team. It was definitely a learning experience for our team because we have a lot of players that came to this and this was their first time ever playing Quidditch in a real match, playing against teams that were the best in France and the best in England. Even when the other teams are far better, it's still a good chance to kind of watch and learn from them.
With such an expansive worldwide reach, it would seem like Quidditch is still growing. But Isaac says the sport has some unique hurdles up ahead.
Being part of Harry Potter, there's a lot of challenges in terms of sponsorship. I think Warner Brothers has been very generous in terms of the licensing of the word because they own the rights. And because of that, it's hard to get like huge sponsorships. I think they've been pretty lenient with like letting them use the word and like do these things, but there's like certain limits to what they can do. Because I think if they were to officially get permission from Warner Brothers, they'd have to approve everything through Warner Brothers, and that would just slow everything down. Like every single tweet or published thing would have to go through this, like, is this okay to represent Harry Potter? And so that keeps the sport kind of smaller, I think, in a sense.
But while the boy who lived can sometimes be a ball and chain for the sport, it's that Hogwarts magic that led to some lifelong friendships for Isaac and his team.
It's like an odd thing that really brings you together with people from all over the world. So it's kind of a cool opportunity just to meet people from all over. I've played a lot of competitive sports growing up, and generally like playing soccer, you play a game and you're not really like, you really like dislike the other team. It's kind of like there's like a tension there. And in Quidditch, like it can get competitive, but generally it's more of a friendly atmosphere after the game. I think that's conducive to meeting more people, and so that's why I'm excited to go to the tournament. Now, as those 7 books taught us, all good things must come to an end. That is, until they're dredged up from the dead to make more money, or J.K. Rowling tweets something about a character that was totally implied the whole time, we just didn't get the subtext. Isaac's tenure with the team wraps up at the end of this month with the Quidditch World Cup, along with his Fulbright program. So I think that's actually affected how Arvin and I have coached in a sense. We're trying to like share our knowledge with the kind of the leaders in the team so they can continue building the team. Now, before I catch a hippogriff out of here, I have a little bonus for you. You know, if you ever find yourself on the shores of the Vltava. There's like the Czech translation of Harry Potter. So the positions have different names. So I play keeper, which I can't really pronounce this word quite well. There's a sound in Czech that is incredibly hard to pronounce, and sadly my position has it. But it's brankář, can't even say it, brankář, Hitach, which is seeker. Obviously, I'm not pronouncing these right, so I'm gonna have to get my Czech friends to come on and actually pronounce them. Thank you so much for joining us on this very first episode of Indi Android. Now, if you like this, be sure to subscribe to this channel, and be sure to hit that button that keeps Voldemort from coming back. It's the one that looks like the thumbs up. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.